Okay, folks, this was a fairly recent, yet perhaps not so recent fad, and I still see them turning up at op shops or similar types of items. Yeah, and they're probably not good for the environment if they end up in your waterways, and they do. I'm sure they do. They would. But they're just a little fad that was marketed primarily to kids, as often is a fad. So fads are indeed, some fads are okay, but I don't like the way people can just get so excited about a fad and then drop it straight away. As soon as it's no longer cool, drop it. I'm not a person who can just take up and drop things like that. I do what I do. I do photocopier art, and this is not a fad, for me at least. And I know it was a fad. Even photocopier art was a fad on a couple of occasions, but it's not a fad for me. I can't just give it up just because everyone else isn't doing it, so I keep doing it. There you have it. Anyway, loom bands. Yes, good old loom bands. There's some examples there on her wrist, and these are what they look like up close. Loom bands. So yeah, they've been a bit of a fad amongst children in particular. But as I said, I just can't take something and just take it up and drop it. I can't get interested in something just because the crowd is interested. I can't give up something just because the crowd is interested or is no longer interested. I'm not a crowd pleaser. I don't follow the crowd. I'm not a sheep. I'm not a sheeple. I'm a person who would like to lead one day and do it well. I'm not a sheeple. I don't follow the crowd. I don't care what the crowd thinks. I don't follow them. However much crowd pleasing is what a lot of people are into, I'm not. I just can't. I just haven't got the desire to simply follow just because everyone else is. I really find it difficult to understand how it happens like that. I'm going to try and angle it, make it into something more interesting. I don't know how this is going to work. But loom bands, just another fad. Another money-making rort using children in their crowd-pleasing attitudes. Peer group pressure, maybe, as well. That if you're not into loom bands, you're not cool. That's how the peer group pressure works. So yeah, if you're not into loom bands or whatever trendy thing that is presented to you at that time, it's like that. You get the feeling that people don't like you if you're not with the in crowd. And I'm so over this crowd pleasing shit. I really am. I'm sick of it. I used to get teased and bullied at school, and I just couldn't be myself without copying vilification, but that didn't stop me from me being me. So I just accept that I wasn't trendy, I wasn't cool. It was hard, dealing with the verbal abuse and the occasional physical confrontation. It was really hard, but it wasn't enough to stop me from being me. And I'm really over the way the world has become such a place where crowd pleasing is the order of the day. It really isn't supposed to be like that. Now this is looking shit house. But basically, I just can't get over how much crowd pleasing is so meaningful for people. People just feel the need to be sheeple just because they don't want to get teased or bullied or treated otherwise like they're an outsider. They shouldn't set up these things in the first place to help, loom bands. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them in themselves, although they must be disposed of safely. I don't know how to dispose of small pieces of plastic like what is found in a loom band, but basically, yeah. Now that's too close to the edge. But basically, it's just a fucking fad, and people just, or sheeple, as I call them, just seem to think that it's okay to. They think they have to please the crowd. Those loom band crowds in this case. And then they'll move on to something else. It's such a shallow thing, how the life cycle of a fad is such a shallow thing. Now that looks interesting. I think that's how we're going to make it. We're going to maybe ramp up the contrast. It's a bit backgroundy as well. But yeah, it's really difficult dealing with fads. There's one fad that I thought is a good thing, and now it's become a mainstream thing, and I think scooters are a lot of fun. Those little micro scooters were something I actually used to ride on, and I found them practical as a form of transport. And they were a fad, but they've sort of grown up as a fad into a more mainstream, everyone else rides them. It's not just for school kids. It's not just a fad anymore. That looks nice and contrasty. I'm wondering if we're going to run with this. I wasn't sure how to present this piece. Now it's worked out well. But loom bands, indeed, a big fad. Even though I'm not a school kid, I'm long past my school days, you still find these things are in the shops and around the place. You just find they're everywhere. You just can't avoid them. Now all the toner colours are all on the last bar, but some are going to run out faster than others. Hopefully this toner won't run out today or on Sunday. Or if it runs out on Sunday, I'll have to take a day off work and order some. This campaign really takes a lot of my limited resources, folks. Trying to get this stuff on television. I think the contrast is a little bit high because the colours are all too bright. But yeah, anyway, that looks interesting. I think now I can call this faddish demo quits.